Good morning. Good morning. I'm a couple minutes late, but I'm here. Happy Saturday. Today we're going to talk about your expat plan specifically, or your move abroad plan, or your sabbatical plan. So come with your questions. My name is Stephanie Perry. I'm a year-round house sitter, and I help Black women take a sabbatical to travel on a budget or to move abroad on a budget. If you're interested in that, please take a second and hit the subscribe button. Click subscribe and then turn on notifications so you'll be notified when I post a new video. That way you won't miss it. That way you won't have to be wondering, is she going live today? You would get notification. You would know I'm here. I'm a couple minutes late, but I'm here. Okay? We're going to talk about your exact plan. So good morning, Duncat. Good morning, Yaya, the shaman, the sensual shaman. Hi, friends. We're going to talk about your plans. Rashida Dow and I from Sheeta's on the Loose just finished a series of 3 getting residency abroad workshops. Stunned me how easy it is to get residency in some other countries. Literally stunned. I was sitting there like, are you kidding me? During these workshops. Good morning, Ife. So we want to talk about it. Let's talk about your specific plan, what you think are the hang-ups, and we can talk through them, okay? I do one-on-one coaching. If you want to talk to me about your sabbatical plan, if you want to talk to me about your move abroad plan, if you want to talk to me about house sitting, I do those things. You can contact me. You can book time with me at vicarious.com/call-me, okay? vicarious.com/call-me. But you don't have to wait for that today because we're talking right now about call me, vicarious.com/call me. We're talking today about your plan, answering your questions, all right? If you're watching the replay, comment and leave your questions in the replay. And you know how YouTube is, they'll tell me, okay? All right. Good morning, Justine. Good morning, Mandy. All right, comparison compatibility. Good morning. Yes, I'm planning on leaving. I'm not kidding. This is a Q&A, so you can ask me your questions. Most people have questions about how, like, what is the very first step, right? Like, I want to leave, I want to move abroad, I want to exit, I want to blaxit, I want to expat. What is the first step that I should take? I think that you should take some time and look at where you want to go. Do you want to bop around? Do you want to be a nomad? Do you want to, right? Do you want to go some different places? Or do you think you want to go to a place and make that your home? And maybe consider, maybe do some side trips and stuff, but do you want to go to a specific place? Think about that. Do you like actual travel, right? Do you want to just be abroad or do you like travel? For some of us, travel days are hard. I'm not a big fan of travel days. That's why I travel really slowly. I go somewhere and stay there for a month, 2 months, 3 months. I have done back-to-back trips. When you look at, so what we talked, Adalia, Rashida, and I talked in Adalia's Facebook group, which is called Solo Sisters, which is a Facebook group for Black women travelers. Face group. I typed face group. Okay, Facebook group called Solo Sisters. We just talked in that group this week about traveling and staying in hostels. So I looked at my Hostel World bookings, and I did book 30-something hostels in that year that I traveled. I traveled for one full year, starting in September of 2015. I traveled for a full year, and I did a lot of bopping around, even though I stayed put for a full month in Chiang Mai, Thailand. I stayed put for a full month in Vietnam, in Hoi An, Vietnam. I did a lot of bopping around too. I prefer the slow stuff. So first get clear on what you're talking about. Are you talking about becoming a nomad? Are you talking about bopping around? A little bit of both. Are you not sure? You can start bopping around and then find a place that you like and then just stay. That is part of the freedom of being a traveler, a full-time traveler in 2021. There are, or not, well, like after COVID. We're talking after, we're talking what COVID says we can. But that's part of that freedom that you can play it by ear, go with the flow. Okay, comparison compatibility. Yes, nomad. Yeah, nomad. All right, yeah. What's an amount to aim for to leave without knowing where I want to stay? If we're talking nomad stuff, right, and we're talking when borders are when we can go places, okay? I wouldn't want to be a nomad right now. I'm in one place right now. But if you want to go to a variety of different places, right? You want to hit up some different countries. Most of us are going to be interested in a region or two, right? So if you're having problems hearing me, let me know. I'm not set up properly, so I don't have the right mic and stuff. But if I need to get the mic, I'll get the mic. Most of us are going to be interested in a region or two, right? Seeing most of a region or two. So pricing can be kind of easy to figure out, kind of consistent. It's harder when you're talking about bopping around versus going to one place. But pricing can be a little bit, can be not that difficult to figure out. You just go to sites like theearthawaits.com, like numbeo.com, and find out what it's going to cost you to stay in that place. Go to Airbnb. If you're talking about Airbnb, and go to Airbnb, see what an Airbnb for the month is going to cost you. We have a toolkit called the Work From Anywhere Toolkit that lists these resources. ExodusSummit.com/toolkit. We have a toolkit that lists our favorite resources for researching what things are going to cost in these places, okay? So I would say start with, where do I think I want to go, right? Pick some places, look at the map. If the majority of these places there are in one or two regions, get started looking at these regions. What is it going to cost in these regions? A good figure for budget travelers, we're talking about people who are fine staying in a dorm room in a hostel. A good figure is $40 a day, not counting plane tickets to the region, right? So in Southeast Asia, in Central and South America, solo budget travelers usually can do it on $40 a day. That's budget. That's what's staying in hostels, right? If you're talking about house sitting, you can knock that down even lower. If you refuse to stay in a dorm room in a hostel, you're going to have to raise that up some more. If you're okay with eating food from the street, right? If you're fine with going to Southeast Asia to the street market and eating your dinner out, from a street cart, you're good. If you must eat in restaurants, you're going to need to raise that up. If you're fine with cooking your own food, you're going to be good, right? So $40 a day is a pretty standard figure for solo budget travelers. That's a good place to start. And it's exactly what I spent, to the penny. I saved enough for $40 a day for 1 year, which was $14,400. I came back with 30-something dollars. Right? As a person who stayed in hostels, I did some work exchanges to cut down on my housing expenses before I knew about house sitting. So that $40 a day is a good starting point. Good morning, Kim. But use the tools in the toolkit to calculate based on the places that you want to go. I did go to Australia, but I didn't pay for my place to stay in Australia. I did work exchanges. I lived with families in Australia because I could not afford it any other way. It's expensive, right? I went to Paris, but I went to Paris for I would say I've been in Paris for less than 10 days total. My cousin joined me. My cousin Marcia joined me in Paris. We stayed in a hostel that was expensive to me. $50 a night. So if you're going to more expensive places, you're going to have to ramp up the budget for that period of your trip. And then if you're doing some things to cut back, like work exchanges, house sitting, you can knock down your budget for that portion of your trip. Okay? So that's where I like to tell people to start. Figure out where you think you want to go. Look at a couple of regions in the world that you want to focus on if you're talking about bopping around, and figure it out. Having a U.S. passport makes things a lot easier in starting planning. That blue passport means that we can get to a lot of places without having prior permission. We don't have to get tourist visas. So if you're going someplace and you know you're only going to want to stay there the length of your tourist visa, things are a lot easier for you. If you don't have the U.S. passport or the Canadian passport, European Union, British, Australian, if you don't have, there's lists of stronger passports and harder passports to travel on. If you're on one of those harder passports to travel on, you're going to have to factor that in to your process. Find places where you can go either visa-free or with where it's less of a pain in the buns, less of a pain in the butt to get the visa. I would start there if my passport wasn't one of the stronger passports on the list. Once you find out where you want to go, get some, and you start figuring out what you think it's going to cost you for the amount of time you want to go. Then we start talking about, okay, how do I afford it, right? Start looking at your budget. It's pretty simple, right? Money in, money out. You start looking at your budget. Where can I get this money from in my own life? Do I need to just work some overtime? Most of my money came from working overtime and cooking my own food. Nothing fancy. I worked overtime at my job and I cooked my own food. I think cooking my own food accounted for the difference in 3 months of travel, right? It meant that I got to travel for 3 more months. I'm pretty sure I saved $3,000 over 15 months just by not eating out as much. Because I bought prepared food every day in my before life. I ate from a restaurant or ate from the work cafeteria or ate from the prepared food from Wawa every day. So for 15 months, I made a focused effort to pack my own lunch, cook my own food. That was about $3,000 in savings, which for me was 3 months of travel. $3,000 or $4,000 in savings. So 3 months in travel. That's where I would start. I think that you don't have to know for sure where you're going to go, but having an idea makes it so much easier to start looking at money. When you just are like, oh, I just want to leave. There's a big difference between going I talked to someone yesterday who's talking about Ghana and Nigeria. To me, I think those are expensive places. I haven't done enough research to say for sure, but if you want to go to Ghana and Nigeria, the planning is going to be different than if you're coming to Mexico, where I am. Okay. World Traveler says, I'm a guy, but I'm subscribed. You don't have to announce. Welcome. I give information on the internet to everyone. Welcome. I don't know if you're like apologizing for subscribing. You don't have to you don't have to apologize. Welcome and tell a friend. V, I'm learning slow travel works better for me. You ladies were right. Yeah, it's more relaxing, right? Americans especially are used to hammering in a trip, right? We got 8 days, we got to hit 4 cities, but it's because we take such little vacation time. We're not talking about a vacation, right? We're talking about digital nomad life, or we're talking about moving abroad for good. You want to enjoy it. You don't want to be exhausted. Yes, slow travel is best for a lot of us. A slow bop. I love it, Ife. A slow bop, if you will. I'm into it. A slow bop. I'm going to start using that. All right. Good morning, Carolyn. Good morning, TD. I was initially thinking about bopping around, but after the expat workshops, I'm tempted to relocate to France. Ciao. So France is the one. France is the workshop where I was shocked and stunned. Okay. Okay. So prepare yourself if you weren't there. France is not. Right now, we're in COVID times. If you're watching this from the future, hi. COVID times means we can't go to France. Okay, we're in COVID times right now, which means you cannot be a tourist and get into France. But they are processing permanent residency visas, right? Now you think, oh, great, that's not helpful. They're processing temporary residency visas. You start out with temporary residency and then you flip that into a permanent residency visa. And you can be a student I'm giving away the good stuff, but it's good stuff, and I can't keep things to myself. You already know. And you're my friends. You can get a student visa and get into France now, right? You can start that student visa process. It'll take just a few weeks. You can get processed into France. But Stephanie, I'm not a student. If you enroll in a language school to start to learn French, and I think you're taking more than, I don't know, 20 hours a week of lessons. It may not even be 20, maybe 16 hours. I don't know. You gotta go to the workshop. There's a certain number of hours per week in lessons, and that number even seemed really high. It wasn't that high. But if you're enrolled in a language school in France and your language school is more than 90 days long, you can get a temporary residency visa. Some of us could be in France in 6 weeks. Okay, I'm gonna give you this workshop one more time. I don't know if I even gave you that link. Okay, exodussummit.com .com/workshops. Okay, so that you can purchase the replay of this workshop. Latrice Shepard, who is Penniless in Paris on Instagram, Penniless in Paris, ran the workshop for us. Yes, okay, so she put us on to the student visa, which is still being processed, which you can get into France asaptually, right? If you're interested in life in France, and France is something that in France and Europe, because of course that gives you access to Europe when they're back to moving around. France is a surprisingly easy place to get residency in, right? So it starts as temporary residency, and then you can parlay that into permanent residency. Shocked and amazed. Okay, go to that workshop, go to that link, get your free, get your, not free, get your replay, purchase the replay and watch that. Take your notes. And then if you need one-on-one time, book some one-on-one time with Latrice. She is a coach, an expat coach who helps people relocate to France. Latrice Shepard is Penniless in Paris on Instagram. Penniless. She's Penniless in Paris on Instagram. Okay, book some time with her. She does this. Okay, she does expat coaching. All right, so this is what I'm talking about. So it is, right now it's easier to move to France than it is to visit France, right, on a tourist visa. So consider your options. That's all I'm saying, okay? Consider your options. All right, let's see. Oh, but as TD, I didn't finish your question. Having a hard time making a decision. Even relocating to France doesn't have to be permanent, right? Nothing is set in stone. You might get the residency visa itself costs like $100 and some, right? You're not going to be out trillions of dollars and stuck there, right? You get there. She gave us a couple of towns and cities that are reasonably priced because France was on the list of best places to retire on a budget. It was on the same list with Thailand and Mexico, right? CN Traveler did a list of best places to retire on a budget, and France was on that list. There were some very reasonable parts of France. And even, she claims Paris even can be reasonable, can be done on a budget. I don't know what she means by budget. So, but she did give us some reasonably priced towns in France in that workshop. So maybe you start out in one direction, right? Especially because we're in COVID times. Maybe you start out with the least, if you know for yourself that you need to make a change now, right? You need to take some action now. I know what that feels like, right? I know what that feels like. If you know you need to take some action now, maybe you do the thing that is the best for you now. And then you still take some time and bop around, right? Maybe once that temporary visa is over, you decide you don't want to renew it. You don't want to extend it. And now you want to do some bopping. Get on your slow bop. There's no wrong, I don't think there's a wrong answer. You try something, you like it, you don't like it, you adjust. Okay, I just saw a thumbs up. I hope that was from you. I hope that's you saying, I'll try one. If one doesn't work, I'll try the other. Aisha, I'm in training with VIP Kid, seeing how that goes with my full-time job, hoping to move on to more companies in upcoming months. Wonderful. VIP Kid is a platform for native English speakers to tutor kids who want to learn English. These are Chinese kids, kids in China, right? You get to tutor them on this platform called VIP Kid. VIP Kid requires a bachelor's degree. They are like the elite of online tutoring platforms. I recently learned that Schooly exists, Skooli, also an online platform that requires you to have a bachelor's degree. There are plenty that don't. I have done some online tutoring. By some, I mean a tiny bit, just to be able to tell y'all that I've done it so that you can, be like, is it legit? I have done some online tutoring with Cambly. I'm going to drop my Cambly affiliate link in the chat. Cambly does not require a degree. It's a little less formal. Cambly for Kids, so my link is going to be funny because I didn't put a space there. Let me fix that. Cambly for Kids has like a bounty out now for teachers. So if you get approved for Cambly for Kids, you get an extra $10, right? We're not talking about a huge bounty, but you get $10 and I get $10. Cambly is, like I said, a little less formal. You get on Cambly, you tell them what you're able to talk about in English, and then people pick you. They have something called, not highlight hours. They have hours that are more in demand, I guess. And if you're available for those hours, you get a little bit more. They start between $10 and $20 per hour for tutoring, right? So we're talking about you're on your phone talking to somebody, you're getting $10 to $20 per hour. So VIP Kid, Schooly, Cambly, Go Kid, and Palfish have good reputations. This is something that you can do from your phone. If we're talking about you needing $40 a day and you get $20 an hour, $10, $15, $20 an hour on one of these sites, this could be a viable way for you to support yourself and your long-term travel lifestyle or your move abroad lifestyle. I happen to think black women as a whole are super educated, right? And we have lots of side hustles and things. So this may not be some of us have more potential to make more money other ways. Okay. But if you don't want to start a business, right? If you don't want to start a business, you just want to be able to work and get paid. italki. Thank you, Ife. If you just want to be able to work and get paid, this is a viable way to do it. I have done it. It's legit. They're legit. italki is the other one that I was thinking. I was like, I know there's another one with a really good reputation. If anyone has done italki, let Ife know in the chat. We're talking, so when you go to that workshops link, exodussummit.com/workshops, you'll see we have sessions coming up on teaching English online and teaching English abroad. So you're the first to know our teaching English abroad date is changing. Even the website doesn't yet say that. Rashida and I decided it yesterday, and we're running a challenge, and I didn't get to the website today to fix it. So the date for teaching English abroad is changing to be determined, unfortunately. But we're still talking. Teaching English abroad, teaching English online. These are viable ways for you to be like, hey, I'm in Thailand. Right? It costs me $30, $40 a day. I teach for a couple hours a day, and then I go on about my Thailand business. Okay? All right. I'm scrolling. Okay, thank you guys for leaving your questions. Thank you for being active in the chat, okay? Because this is what we're here to do. All right. Ife says free game. Thanks. You're welcome. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. Hey, Letitia, I love Paris. I know being a student in France could be a gateway. However, I didn't know you could do it. You can. Yeah, girl. I'm telling you, these workshops have changed my perspective on applying for residency. I no longer see it as, oh, I have to be firm. I have to have it set in stone. Even when we were pitching these workshops to you guys, like we have a Facebook group called Exodus Summit for Black women who are planning a sabbatical or who are planning a move abroad. When we were telling the group about the workshops, we were like, don't come to every workshop, right? And don't come to a workshop just because you want to see, right? Come to a workshop because you are pretty sure that you want to come to this country or this country, right? Pick two at the most. But having gone to the workshops, I can say that maybe you want to apply for residency in a couple of different places, right? Maybe residency in a European country, and after you qualify and you're no longer on the clock, right? So there's rules about how long you can leave the country once you get residency, permanent or temporary, right? But maybe once that clock resets, then you go for another country. Maybe you get residency in more than one place. Maybe we'll need it. I don't want to talk, I'm not going to do some fear mongering on this channel, but maybe we'll need residency in more than one place. Maybe we'll need even more options. Yeah, so I no longer think that I have to have it set in stone about where I want to go. Could be flexible, right? A European residency in like Portugal or France opens up the whole door of Europe to us. So yeah, so even I'm like, it doesn't have to be set in stone. I would like to expat to a country that has creative, artistic community vibe. You can find an artistic community in a lot of different places. In Mexico, San Miguel de Allende has the reputation of being more artsy. Okay. Now, keep in mind, these are old people, right? These are artsy senior citizens. So there are places where you can find, oh, thanks, Kim. Thanks for the super chat, Kim. There are places where you can find, I appreciate that. Thank you. Last week, my super chat fueled my my breakfast, my coffee. So thank you for that. I appreciate it. You can find that in probably any country. What you do is you get in a Facebook group for expats in the place you're considering, and you find out what's going on in this artist community, right? Merida, I would say, has the reputation of being more artsy. Tony, are you here, Tony? Good morning. Tony just performed live at a cabaret type place in Merida, right? She's a singer. Tony might be here with us this morning. So this is what Facebook groups can help you with. If anybody here knows a place that to them seems more artsy, shout it out. I would say Johannesburg also, younger, artsier, right? So I said San Miguel de Allende in Mexico. I'm not kidding, they're senior citizens. It's like if you've been to New Mexico, what's it called? That place in New Mexico it's like they left New Mexico and came to Mexico, to San Miguel. But Johannesburg is alive. That's how I felt when I was in Johannesburg, South Africa. Johannesburg is alive. Of course, we're talking about places after lockdown. South Africa is strict about their restrictions and their protocol. They just got the ability to buy alcohol again. They've been like no alcohol for weeks or months. So we're talking after. Yeah, but check these places out. Ask in expat groups. If you're interested in a country, join the expat group for that country. Taos, New Mexico. Thank you. Yes, Juncat. So they left New Mexico. They came down here, basically, is what they did. It's just a bunch of American and Canadian retirees in San Miguel. But they're doing art stuff, right? So if you want to put on a showcase, you can, right? If you want to do a painting, I don't know the language. If you want to, like, here, I'm putting on a show. Come look at my show. Individual people are doing that kind of thing in different cities all over the world. But yeah, Ife agrees with me. Yeah, Johannesburg, South Africa is alive. That's all I can think when I want to describe it to people. It's alive. Thank you very much for the super chat. 3Ds to success. Thank you. Make sure you guys are asking questions, okay? Make sure you're leaving here with information, with help. Or you know that you can book time with me one-on-one, vicarious.com/call me. But we're here this morning to get some questions answered, okay? All right. Hi from Romania. Hi, Sid. Okay, TD McLean, thanks for that perspective. You're welcome. Yeah, nothing set in stone. We're free. That's part of what we're pursuing. We're pursuing a life of freedom. We're pursuing a life where we can say, and now I am an author, right? And now I am a tutor and I tutor people online. And now, right, we're trying new things. Okay. Cape Town is another place that's that you're going to love. Cape Town is beautiful. It's beautiful. The look of it is just beautiful. The beaches and yeah, it's a beautiful place. South Africa was a great trip for me. Kim shouts out VIP Kid. VIP Kid is great. You get a lot of training. That's the difference between some of these platforms. Some of these platforms are like, okay, you can speak English. All right. Talk to this person as best you can and figure some things out. Right. And then some of these platforms are like, here's our training. VIP Kid has the best reputation, I would say. But Cambly is a lot less formal. I just got on Cambly and I was like, I can talk about sports, travel, and hospital stuff. I said healthcare, I think healthcare, because I worked in a hospital for years. So I can talk sports, travel, healthcare. And a couple of people got on who wanted to work on their healthcare words, language, pronunciation. Very informal, just conversation like we're doing, conversation. With them stumbling in English and me correcting them and trying to work on pronunciation. Cambly is very informal. Okay, so TD is giving us information in the chat on language training in France outside of Paris. She's looking at Montpellier, so check out the chat. If you're watching the replay and the chat is not there, come back to the replay. It takes about a day for the chat to show up in the replay, okay? Katrina, I'm so glad I found your channel. I'm so glad you did too. I'm so glad. Let me know what you're working on. V, I'm not interested in creating a business until I explore the world a little more. That's why I signed up for teaching online. Good. That's a good point, right? We want free time and freedom to do our thing. Yes. So I have been talking a lot about business creation for Black women, but please do not feel obligated, Black women, to start a business. We're told all the time that we have to be doing, achieving, you know, climbing the ladder in order to be valuable. You are valuable doing nothing. You are valuable doing something. You're valuable, period. So you don't have to, we're told you have to start a business, you got to raise 18 kids, yours, your grandkids, your neighbors, your nieces, your nephews. You've got to bake from scratch. You've got to have 6 degrees. You've got to all these things. Then you're valuable. That's not how it works. Really, does not. Other people don't get that messaging. Listen to what other people are told. They don't get that messaging. Black women get that messaging. Black excellence. Black excellence is killing us, right? It's okay to be happy and rested. Look at me. I am happy, I'm rested. I hope you can see that. That's why I'm a little bit late, because I'm a little extra rested this morning. It's okay to be happy and rested. So I hope that my recent push of videos on business stuff is not giving you the message that you have to have a business. You absolutely do not, okay? Some of us already do, and our businesses are draining us instead of fueling our dreams and fueling the life that we want. And so I want to talk about some things that I know that can help you flip that, right? Help you flip if you already have a business or you want to run a business, how you can flip that to make sure that your business is fueling your dream instead of draining you, okay? But it's not because you have to. You absolutely don't have to. You ain't got to do nothing. If you get alimony, I'm telling you, I am so jealous of women who get alimony. I'm like, dang, that is the long game. I regret a lot of decisions, a lot of no's that I said. I regret that because if I had alimony, please believe I would be in France today. You know, you don't have to be achieving and doing and climbing and rising in that regard, right? You can achieve and be and climb and rise in happiness and peace and joy and contentment. I want that for you. That's what I want. For me, for you. So V, yes to that. Teaching English abroad or teaching English online is a great way to get you out that door, living your life. I'm here for it. That's why we're running that workshop, exodussummit.com/workshops. Okay. Yes, Ife is saying the same thing. Teaching English online will get her out the door, then maybe she'll work on something else. Cambly, you don't need a certificate. You don't need the TEFL certification, right? Cambly, probably italki. Actually, I don't know. I can't speak on italki. I've been on Cambly and Palfish, no English certificate, no TEFL, no whatever the other ones are called. I'm not running the workshop on teaching online because I don't have the information. So I don't have the information, but no, you don't for those. Maybe for the others, maybe for VIP Kid. Somebody answer for us if you know. Schooly, you don't. With Schooly, Skooli, with Schooly, you need a degree in a relevant field. So if you have a bachelor's degree in, like if you want to be a math teacher and you have a bachelor's degree in math or engineering or something, a math tutor, then that's enough. You don't need a second certification. I'm pretty sure. I'm learning to be more flexible. It's practice. You practice at it. Yeah, we're so used to things having to be a certain way, right? We're always told you got to work 10 times harder, you got to be 10 times smarter, you got to be better, 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 better. It's okay to chill. I'm telling you, it feels good. It feels good. Tracy, hey Tracy Trey. Between the Facebook group workshops and this channel, my mind has definitely expanded. I'm glad. I'm glad. I only know these things and have done these things because somebody told me. Somebody told me. I tell this story all the time. I was in Brazil for 5 days for my 40th birthday. It might have been 5 or 6 days for my 40th birthday. And people kept asking me, how long are you here for? And I would say 5 days, and they'd be like, no, like total. Right? Like, not this city. Like, how long are you spending in Brazil total? And I was like, 5 days. Right? And these are people who look like they do the same kind of thing I do, right? I worked in a hospital. They look like hospital employees. They look like teachers. They look like, one guy was a waiter. And I'm like, what do you mean? Well, how is everyone staying here for 3 months in Brazil? And he was like, you can quit your job and travel on $40 a day and then go back and get your job back. And I was like, oh, no, thank you. I didn't know that. I didn't know that you could travel a lot of the world on $40 a day. Because my trip to Brazil cost me like $2,000. So I'm thinking, and that was for 5 days, So I know this stuff because somebody told me. I read a blog post on house sitting, and now I'm a house sitter. We are passing it. We are sharing it, right? We're reaching and sharing with other people. We're keeping it moving. I don't know. I'm stumbling over my words. Okay. Okay. V votes for San Miguel de Allende as an artsy place. Rashida loves San Miguel de Allende. Okay. V says she'll check it out. Okay. Good. Yes, good info. San Miguel is beautiful. It's all cobblestone and it's all uphill. I don't care where you're going uphill. I have house sat there multiple times. Beautiful, beautiful place. Beautiful homes. Oh, some of the pictures that I flex with on Instagram are homes that I house sat in San Miguel de Allende. But man, I don't care where you're going. It's uphill. I'm like, how is the grocery store uphill to get there and to get back? How is that possible? Somebody tell me. Yes, Mexico is not a place for your cute shoes. Mexico is a place for sneakers, walking shoes, and walking sandals. Even flip-flops are a struggle here. Barcelona and Lisbon. Yeah, how did I not mention Lisbon? Absolutely. Lisbon and Porto. Yes, to that. Dawn, I'm interested in Portugal. Watch the replay of getting residency in Portugal. We had a residency, a woman who helps people prepare their residency applications come in and teach that session. Also another place where it seems a lot easier than I would have thought. So watch that session, Getting Residency in Portugal, exodussummit.com/Portugal. So okay, Laura. Thanks, Laura. Guanajuato is younger, and it is a little more vibrant. You need more English. You need more Spanish in Guanajuato. That's my experience of Guanajuato. So Guanajuato is my favorite. I wasn't going to mention it because it's not fun, right? Rashida went there and she was like, okay, but what is there to do? So it's a good place to live. It's not I think it's fair to say it's not the best vacation spot, but it's a great place to live. I enjoyed my house that's there. It's beautiful. It's like everything is up on a hill and everything is super colorful. There's at least a university there, probably multiple universities, but it seemed like a big university there. So it's vibrant and fun as well. It is, but it's not vacation fun, it's life fun. And good, there's a decent amount of expats, so even though you need a little Spanish there, or you need to be comfortable at least with the fact that other people are not going to speak English, right? You need to be comfortable with that in Guanajuato, in San Miguel, right? There are enough Americans and Canadians that people speak English there. But in Guanajuato, you need to be comfortable with people. Right? It's Mexico. You need to be more comfortable with that. I got along fine. My Spanish is terrible. I have the Spanish of a 2-year-old, right? I don't put verbs in tenses. I just add yesterday or tomorrow to it, right? I go to the store tomorrow. I go to the store yesterday. Same verb tense. And they understand, and people are fine with that. It is younger, and it's prettier. I don't care what Rashida says. Guanajuato is prettier. Hey, Katrina. All right, another shout out for Lisbon. Okay. All right, Katrina says she needs to go somewhere fast. All right, okay, good. I'm glad to see you guys talking to each other in the chat, giving each other information, telling each other where you've been, what you've loved, what you've not loved so much. Cape Town is amazeballs. Cape Town is less black, I think, right? Is that how we would call it, what we would call it, Ife? Johannesburg is blackety black. Surprisingly, Cape Town, so maybe some of this is me. I was a little nervous about going to South Africa for the first time. I was nervous that I was going to feel very apartheid. It was going to feel very apartheidy still, right? It didn't feel that way, but Cape Town is definitely whiter than Johannesburg. Johannesburg is black and alive. If I can say it one more time, Johannesburg is black, Johannesburg is alive. Dawn, is this for me? I see you say, I asked a question, please answer for me. I'm on a third party. You can see these comments on the screen because I'm using a third party platform called Ecamm, but sometimes questions and comments scroll right past me. So if you have another question, ask it again. If that was for me, ask me again. Kim, have I traveled to other countries in and out through Guadalajara seamlessly? No. From Guadalajara, I've only gone back and forth to the U.S. Yeah. I don't even know right now what flights are coming in and out of Guadalajara. I would assume mostly U.S. flights. I have not. You never know how traveling for a year will change you. Unless you have serious coins, then it's not worth it to waste money on bills. You never know how traveling for a year will change you. And unless you have serious coins, then it's not worth it to waste money on bills. Oh, you're talking about being flexible. Yeah, I think a lot of us, the reason that you see so many women, if you've watched my videos on the 12 days of career breaks that Rashida and I did in 2019, you'll see that every single woman who took a career break and traveled long term was planning to or had already either done it again or had moved abroad. Okay? I'm not kidding when I say there's a different feeling of freedom. You can feel freer in a country that has fewer freedoms, right? Some of us have gone to countries that have fewer freedoms, but feel freer to us as black women, as black women and brown women. I think we interviewed all black women. I know we did. Right. So we, as black women, we can feel freer in a country, even in a country that has fewer freedoms. Right. Wanda lives in Malaysia. Malaysia is not a free, they got some strict rules in Malaysia, right? But as a black woman, Wanda from Black Women Travel Podcast, Wanda feels freer in Malaysia to live her life, to be freer to be in Malaysia than in the United States. So that's why we explore. That's why we go places and we share with other people. Share what's out there. The birds agree with me. I don't know if you heard the birds kicked up a chirp for us. They agree. Okay, Dawn, do you need a certificate? Okay, I answered that. So do you need a certificate in teaching to teach abroad? Yes, yes. Most teach abroad programs, so there's, okay, different, teaching abroad is different things. If we're talking teaching at like an international school, you need to be a teacher in the US already, right? You need to be a teacher with certifications. So if you're talking teaching at an international school, that would be like the pinnacle of a good payment, a good job at the right international school, right? Good payment, good job. This is for people who are teachers in the US and they have certification and they have experience, okay? Teaching abroad at international schools, the highest tier. There's also teaching abroad, teaching English as a second language, right? Teaching just that subject. Teaching abroad at international schools is teaching your subject that you have taught in the US. If you're a math teacher, a history teacher, a civics teacher, you teach abroad in an international school on your subject, okay? Okay. I hope I'm clear, okay? And okay, so that's international schools, okay? They are the ideal, right? They're the pinnacle. They're going to pay you the best. They're going to give you the best. If they give you housing, you're going to get the best, like housing or stipend or whatever, if you're already a teacher in the US. I'm assuming from your question that you're not already a teacher in the US. The way to teach abroad for you would be to get a certification, right? Teaching English as a second language certification. There are platforms online that can help you with this. Those jobs are teaching English as a second language in schools, and those jobs vary. You're going to find jobs that you love. You're going to find jobs that you hate. I'm pretty sure Latrice teaches English as a second language in France, and she loves it. Nicole Brewer from the group I Love to Globetrot. Nicole's group is ILUV to Globetrot on Facebook. She's a teacher, an English as a second language teacher in Oman. Man, is she living the life. We interviewed her during Exodus Summit. She's living the life on a teacher's salary in Oman, in a very expensive place, very expensive place. Her group happens to be teacher heavy because she's a teacher and her friends are teachers. Her Facebook group is full of teachers. So they have really good information in her group about teaching English abroad. Okay, she's even written a book. Nicole and Adalia have written books about teaching abroad, right? Nicole Brewer's book is on teaching English as a second language abroad. Adalia's book is about teaching in an international school abroad because Adalia was a teacher in the US, all right? Now, if we're talking about teaching online, I've answered that no. Most of these platforms do not require any kind of certification. They require you to be a native English speaker. All right. Vietnam destroyed my shoes. We were talking about cobblestone. Yes, yes. Don't take your cute shoes out in the world. They're not made for these streets. Even Paris, I don't know how they do it. Like even Paris streets, I need sneakers in these streets. Yes, they're not made for this. Keep your cute shoes at home. I had shoes made when I was in Vietnam. Yeah, I had some shoes made for me in Vietnam. Yeah, these places are not, there are not a lot of shoe friendly places. Querétaro is another place in Mexico. I haven't been. I've been all around that state. So the state of Guanajuato. I've been all around that state, and I haven't been to Querétaro. Querétaro. I struggle with it. I've been to León. I've been to Guanajuato. Been to San Miguel for extended periods of time, and have not been yet to Querétaro. But it looks great. I don't think you can go wrong. There are a lot of places in Mexico where I really like. I don't think you can go wrong. Mexico is just great. It's a full package. Okay, Dawn, I see your comment. Can I give you the link to residency in Portugal? exitsummit.com/workshops is where you can find these residency workshops. Okay, so you'll get the replay. You can get the replay to getting residency in France, getting residency in Portugal, getting residency in Mexico. Those replays are up. You can also sign up for getting Teaching English Online, which is happening February 24th. You can sign up for Teaching English Abroad, which is to be determined. That date says February 17th, but we've postponed it to be determined. Okay, so if you're not comfortable with registering for a workshop that's to be determined, make sure that you're subscribed to my channel, and I will announce when that date has been changed to. Okay? All right. All right, so I answered. Was that your question, Junkat? Do you have any access to the workshops for the Exodus Summit for sale? Now, the actual summit workshops, the actual summit sessions, when you first go to exodussummit.com, you get access to them for free for 48 hours. Sometimes women are like, I haven't slept. I got to watch all these workshops. We had 40-something workshops. Don't do that to yourself. Don't try to watch all 40-something. Pick the ones that seem the most relevant to you. Go to exodussummit.com. Pick the workshops that are most relevant to you and watch them, okay? If you want the replays, you can buy the replays and have access to all of the workshops. But exodussummit.com is where you can go to find workshops or to find the actual sessions from Exodus Summit, which happened October of 2020. We talked about sabbaticals and moves abroad. We had experts come in and women who are doing it, right? Women who have done it and talk about the logistics of it, right? So we have Wanda's session is still the most popular. Wanda's session, Wanda from Black Women Travel podcast, Wanda Duncan, her session was on giving yourself permission to leave. Very important way to start off your sabbatical planning process or your move abroad planning process, giving yourself permission to leave. Rashida Dow talked about the logistics of planning a career break. Katrina McGee talked about the logistics of planning a career break, especially when you know you want to return to your career, right? You want to make sure that your career benefits from a break and not that your career stagnates from a break. Your career can benefit. People will look at you as though you are not just like brave, right? People be like, oh my gosh, you were so brave when you come back from a career break. But they also know that you have problem solving skills. You have a set of skills that people who haven't left the US for extended periods of time don't have. You may have language skills that they will consider a bonus. So Katrina's session on making sure that your career benefits from this career break, very helpful. We had sessions on like running a business abroad. Claire Soares, who is the CEO of Up in the Air Life, a multi-million-dollar travel business. Wonderful trip planning, like a wonderful travel, what am I going to say? High-end trips, yacht week. Okay, so let's, yachts, right? So Claire talked about running a business abroad. Jakaya Brown Chow from The Traveling Fro, and Cinnamon from here on YouTube, Cinnamon, who is Driven Spice on YouTube, talked about the logistics of running a business abroad. So these sessions are there at exodussummit.com. Don't stay up for 48 hours and watch all of these sessions, okay? Watch the most important ones. When their free access is over, buy the replay if you feel like you are helped from these sessions, okay? But buy the replay, and then you have access to all of them for a while. I can't say for how long. Rashida, for 2 years. Rashida is an attorney. Rashida won't let me say forever. You have access forever? No, Rashida says we say 2 years, and that way, if it's forever, they win. Hi, Rashida. All right. Luxury lifestyle travel. Thank you, Donna. Hi, Donna. Up in the air travel, luxury lifestyle travel. Absolutely. Luxury is the word, right? If you have never been spoiled on a trip, Claire will spoil you, right? She will show you a new way. I'm afraid, right? I'm afraid because how am I going to go back to staying in dorm rooms after a trip with Claire? I don't how do I go back, right? Is that a door I don't want to, am I ready? Is that a door I don't want to go through yet? She's doing a trip to, I'm pretty sure they're still on. She's doing a trip to a cruise to the Antarctic. Is that right, Rashida? Cruise to the Antarctic is her next trip. Hi, Imani. Yeah, buy the replays. You'll have them there. These are the tools that are going to get you on your sabbatical or get you out abroad. Hey, Latasha. So okay. So I told you to ask me questions, and now I'm just going on and on. Okay. How do you balance deciding where to go with the need to have stable internet and electricity? Do you use a VPN? Hi, Justine. Wonderful questions. Thank you for asking these questions. Do you use a VPN to access the internet? Depending on where you go, you may need to use a VPN. A VPN is I don't know. A VPN tells places on the internet that you're not in. Okay, so I'm in Mexico. When I tried to set up a PayPal account, a new PayPal account, while I was here in Mexico, I had all kinds of problems, right? Because it's that my internet is telling PayPal that Stephanie is in Mexico right now. And then there's all kind of extra hoops you have to jump through. Some sites don't like some countries. So I turn on my VPN. I pay like $12 a month for ExpressVPN. I turn on my VPN and it tells PayPal, Stephanie's computer is actually in Washington, D.C., right? I'm from Delaware, so I picked D.C., right? So instead, my VPN makes it seem like I'm doing internet business from Washington, D.C., and then PayPal was like, oh, hey, welcome. Yeah, you can set your account up. So some places you need to have a VPN to do certain things. But it's easy, right? We're talking, I pay $12 a month. I never looked around to see what others cost. I assume they're about the same. There may be free VPNs that are helpful. But this means that I don't have to worry about them always being like, alert, it looks like someone is signing in from Guadalajara, Mexico. Is this really you, right? Like those alerts are annoying. Yes, it's me. I just turn on my VPN and pretend like I'm still in the US. Some sites a VPN doesn't help with, like Netflix. Netflix knows no matter what I do, Netflix knows that I'm actually in Mexico. Some content you can't access from certain countries. China, I can't help on what people do in China. I think in China, you don't have the same internet, right? You don't have access to the same internet. You're not watching YouTube videos and Amazon Prime stuff in China. So yes to the VPN. Not always, but sometimes. When I'm doing business stuff, I use my VPN. So access to strong internet, you're going to find, Justine, if you're in Atlanta, let me say, Rashida and I have interviewed a lot of people in Atlanta. Wherever you are in the world, your internet is probably better than it is in Atlanta. When we did the 12 Days of Career Breaks interviews with some women in Atlanta. We did the Exodus Summit interviews with some women in Atlanta, and their internet was the pits. I'm like, girl, my internet in Lake Chapala, Mexico is clearer and stronger than your internet in the heart of Atlanta. So you're going to find a lot of the world has really good, strong, fast internet for cheap. In Vietnam, internet was really good. Malaysia also. I went from Indonesia where the internet was not the best. I went from Indonesia to Malaysia, and I remember I was in a hostel in a dorm room, and I was like, wow, this internet is fast. It was fast enough that I noticed it, and I was only like posting on Facebook and stuff, but it was like, these are some megabytes here. And I said it out loud, and the girl was like, I know. The girl in my dorm room, she had just gotten there too. She was like, I know, isn't it awesome? Yeah, so a lot of the world has fast and reliable and inexpensive internet. In most of Mexico, I've had great internet. Now I'm in La Paz, not so great. This is the first place in Mexico where I've had not so great internet. Get your work from anywhere toolkit, and you'll find those ExodusSummit.com. You'll get your work from anywhere toolkit, and you'll find a link to ExodusSummit.com/toolkit. You'll find a link to, what's it called? Nomad List. Nomad List is the site that I use where people report what their internet speed is around the world. Okay. Yes. And electricity access, the electricity is something you need to find out from people on the ground, in groups, in Facebook groups. Most places, no, most, I don't even know what I'm talking about. Not most places. There are places in the world where you're going to have internet outages on the regular. or electricity outages. There are places in the world where you're going to have electricity outages on the regular. I had that in South Africa for the little bit of time that I was there. So you'll need to figure out if this is going to be a problem for you. You need to govern yourself accordingly. This is something you're going to find out in Facebook groups. I spent 2 months total in Vietnam. I don't remember ever being without electricity or internet. Same Thailand. I don't remember ever having a problem with electricity or internet in Thailand, but I do remember in South Africa that electricity outages. In Mexico, so I'm pretty sure there are parts of Mexico that have these outages. I had them only in one house. So I've house sat in the same areas a lot, and I've only had one house that, no, in the Lake Chapala area, we did have outages. No, not this winter, or maybe we did. I was there in December. So yeah, I don't know. Yes, there are places with electricity outages you do need to find out. And how much of an outage are we talking? I didn't care, right? I would tell people before we got on a one-on-one call or before I was doing, so I did some podcast interviews and stuff while I was in Lake Chapala. And I would be like, I'm in Mexico. Sometimes my power goes out and I lose electricity and I lose internet, right? Then if it happened, it happened. If it didn't happen, it didn't happen, right? I use ExpressVPN. If you're watching the replay, I'll drop my affiliate link in the replay, but I use ExpressVPN. I have no problems with it. I turn it on, I turn it off. Good to go. All right. Okay, let me go back up here. Yeah, Atlanta, I don't know what are they doing? Why is y'all's internet so bad? I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. We interviewed, we talked to Tatiana, who was in Kenya at the time. We talked to people who were all over the world. Of course, we've talked to Wanda, who's in Malaysia. We've talked to people all over the world, and nobody's internet is as bad as Atlanta internet. So if if you're doing business fine on the internet in Atlanta, you can do it other places. Imani says sometimes there'll be a new VPN that Netflix doesn't know to block. Yeah, mine, they're like, psh, nice try. I can't watch I can't watch the US stuff when I'm here in Mexico. They know. So I don't mean there's no Netflix. I just mean that there are a handful of things that I don't have permission to watch because I'm not in the US. Football. So I bought the football package. Don't boo me. Don't boo me. Everybody has their vices. So I watched football online, and I had to get the package that says that I'm in Mexico. I started out trying to get the US package, and they wouldn't because this is not permittable in your country, whatever. So I got the Mexico package. Turns out it was a lot cheaper, so I won. It was a lot cheaper, so I'll be able to watch the Super Bowl here. Because I don't have TV. I have a TV, but there's no TV service. There's no satellite service at this particular Airbnb. Yeah. Good. Yes, thank you to whoever brought up the VPN first. Thank you very much for asking this question. V says in China you have to download the VPN before you get there. Okay. Yeah, here I didn't sign up for the VPN until I got here. My VPN is set to NYC. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I set mine to Washington, D.C. just because it's closer to Delaware. I don't know if it matters. I don't know if it mattered where in the U.S. as long as it said the U.S. Oh, Kim. Okay, so I didn't purchase mine, so I've had it on and off. I end my service when I don't need it, and then I pick it back up when I do need it. I came back down here the end of November, so I picked it back up once I got here, and I didn't pay for it until I got here in Mexico. But as we've been just told, and if you're going to China, you need to get that VPN service before you go to China. China is strict, okay? Don't let the cheap prices fool you. China is strict. All right. Okay, okay. If you have a question, where are we at? Oh, an hour. Okay. So if you have a question about your particular plan, ask your question. You don't forget that these workshops, getting residency in France, getting residency in Portugal, getting residency in Mexico, those replays are available at exodussummit.com/workshops. No, this is a link to the toolkit. Okay, so the toolkit will give you the link to the workshops. If you've already gotten the Work From Anywhere toolkit, that information is in, the link to the workshops is in the toolkit. The Work From Anywhere toolkit is the resources that we use to run businesses from different parts of the world, right? The VPN, I'm pretty sure the link to the VPN is in there. The insurance that we use, the travel medical insurance, the stuff, the tools, the resources. I can't think of anything else, but it's pages of info. So there's other stuff in there. Airbnb, right? Links to Airbnb to have a place to stay. Links to the resources that we use to look up cost of living, right? The cost of living sites that we like to look on. Warning, these sites are addictive. You will get on a site on Saturday at noon, and you will look up and it will be Sunday at midnight because you will just be looking at what are people paying in different parts of the world. If this is something that you get into, you need to be aware that these things will take hours from you. They will take hours of your life. I love those calculators. Numbeo, Nomad List, the Earth Awaits. I love looking at those calculators to find out what things cost around the world and where can I afford to go. So tools for that are in there. If you're like, oh, but I'm not even at this point, I need to find a remote job. Some of our favorite remote work sites are in there as well. Some of our favorite sites to find remote work, right, are in that toolkit as well. So get your toolkit, get it together. Because we are getting ourselves up and out. We're going to live our dreams. We are living our travel dreams. Okay, I see Katrina's message start from the beginning. Katrina, if you're still here, I started out spilling the beans that at the Getting Residency in Paris workshop, we learned that France, not Getting Residency in Paris, the Getting Residency in France workshop. At the Getting Residency in France workshop, we learned that France is processing temporary residency visas. You cannot get into France as an American, as a tourist right now, but you can get in on a temporary residency visa. To get approved for temporary residency, you need to be enrolled in a language school, right? If you enroll, or you need to be enrolled in school in France. If you enroll in a language school that's more than 90 days, you qualify for a year of temporary residency in France. That's what we started out talking about. All of my plans changed, okay? I had to hold myself back because that is a gateway to all of Europe, right? Temporary residency in France is a gateway to temporary and then permanent residency where you can be in Europe. You can just be in Europe as a resident. So that's what we started out talking about. Get the replay at exodussummit.com/workshops. Yeah, we learned that people are getting residency and moving abroad even during this pandemic. People who can't get in as a tourist are getting in as a resident, as a new temporary or permanent resident. And qualification may not be as strict or not as hard. Qualifying for the residency visa may not be as hard as you think it is. So check out those replays, and if you're feeling like you need to get somewhere now, I understand that. I'm not judging you. I'm in Mexico, right? If you feel like you need to get somewhere else now and the tourist visa situation is breaking your heart, seriously, residency might be a legit option for some of us. That's what we started out talking about, okay? If I didn't answer you, thanks friends for the super chat, for those who gave the super chats, I appreciate it. If you have a question that I didn't answer, ask it again, okay? If not, we're gonna say goodbye and I'm gonna get some breakfast. Now, since I don't have my mic in, you might be able to hear my stomach growling. The laptop mic might be picking that up. Okay, I'm scrolling. I don't see anything new. I'm gonna get my phone and look on YouTube really quickly because I'm using this third party thing. I'm gonna get on YouTube really quickly and just see if I'm missing something. And then I'm gonna let y'all get on with your Saturday. Okay, I see something popping up. I don't know if y'all can hear the man. There's a microphone. There's a man who comes around selling. I don't even know what he's selling. In Mexico, they sell things door to door. Like, so in Mexico, right? You don't really drink the water. The man comes and he sells water. The big, I don't know what they are, 5 liters or 10 liters of water. And he comes around on his truck with his loudspeaker and he announces agua, agua, right? And you go out and you pay him and then he delivers your water. There's a washer and dryer man that's announcing, we buy washers and dryers. It's a child's voice. Se compran lavadores, secadores. They sing that. I hear them every day. The washer and dryer man comes by. But there's this man who has a different, I don't know, y'all probably can't hear him. But I haven't figured out yet what he sells, what's going on. But I like the wash and dryer man is my favorite because it's a child singing. Se compran lavadores, secadores. That's how they do here in Mexico. Okay. You can hear the birds. They're living their life today. I'm not leaving this Airbnb just because of my outdoor space. My little outdoor space is so adorable. I love it. Okay, I see a couple new questions. New to your channel, what's the next place to start? Moving to another Mexican city. So hi Sanaya. So we started out with figure out where you want to go, look at the cost of living. For most of us, the money is the thing, right? So figure out where you want to go, use those costs of living tools to figure out what it's going to cost you. From this, it looks like you already have remote work, or are you saying you have questions about remote work? Use those cost of living tools that are in the Work From Anywhere toolkit. Find out what it's going to cost you in the place you want to go or the places. We talked about the slow bop. Some of us want to bop around the globe slowly. We want to do a little slow travel. You can research these regions, these cities, and find out where you want to go and what it's going to cost you, and then work backwards to figure out how you're going to pay for this. Might be remote work, might be teaching English online, might be running your own business, might be alimony payments. Y'all, I am so jealous of women with alimony payments. I wish I could go back. I would go back. I wish I could go back and say yes to some no's that I said just for the alimony. So, right. So you need to figure out for most of us, it starts with the money. What's it going to cost and how am I going to make that? How am I going to make that from another country? So that's where I would start. If money's not your concern, then dream. Find some places that you want to go and literally figure out what do I want to do in these places? We already had questions about where is it artsy? Where can I go that it's artsy? Find some places that call you and then get your money right. Everybody's got to get their money right in some way. Determine if you want to go on a residency visa or if a tourist visa is long enough. Okay, so if you're talking about going in the future and the 90-day tourist visa, which a lot of the world will give American passport holders, if you have a U.S. passport, a Canadian passport, one of the top, right, the most, what are they called? The passports with the most power. That's not my language, that's their language, right? But they're passports that have the most power. If you have one of those passports, then decide if you want to go someplace for the amount of time that they're giving you on a tourist visa, or do you need to work on getting a residency visa so that you can stay longer. So start with the money. Sanaya, start with what's it going to cost there. Use those calculators, Numbeo, the Earth Awaits, Nomad List. Use those calculators to determine what it's going to cost you, and then work backwards to find out where's that money going to come from for you. You're welcome. Thank you. Hi, only one Shanray. Hi. I think you've been here quietly, right? Thank you very much for leaving a comment. Thank you. I like when I see new names and new faces. You're welcome, Imani. Yeah, get your fruit. Yes, there's a fruit. There's a fruit. Now here, I'm right across the street from a fruit lady. She's in a shop. So I don't know. I don't know that I've seen a fruit truck around here. But yes, they do that too. Yep, they have the coconuts and pineapples, and they come around singing. Here's what I'm selling. Come on out the door. The vegetable. Yeah, in San Nicoles, he would just ride by naming vegetables. He would come by at the right time. Yes, that's my favorite song. It's a bop. Se compran lavadores. That's a bop. That's my favorite song. All right. Okay, Dawn, good. Right? Good. Okay, so I've given you all of the resources that I've got. Okay, I've told you about the Getting Residency workshops. I've told you about Exodus Summit. I've told you about the toolkit. I've told you about getting one-on-one time with me. I got to go. Okay. Rashida goes live with Sheeta's on the Loose at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Find a Therapist February. It's Find a Therapist February. Rashida has launched her own initiative, Find a Therapist February. We are not going to suffer in silence. We're not going to hold it in. We're not going to be the de facto therapist for other people and then have nobody to go to ourselves. We are finding a therapist in February. So join Rashida at Sheeta's on the Loose at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. She's talking about what to look for, how to find a therapist who's right for you. HTTPS. Okay. YouTube.com/Sheeta's on the Loose. Right? How to find a therapist who's right for you, who understands you, right? You don't have to go in and explain what you mean when you say at work, right, they're treating me poorly, right? You don't have to go and explain why you're burned out at work. Find a therapist who understands you, a Black woman. Find a therapist who understands what's going on in your life. Find a Therapist February is in effect. And so she's going to start today, or not start, she's already started, but today she's talking about like how to find a therapist, what to look for. She did a live stream already on Instagram about the 5 places you should go to get started looking. I will assume that she will link to that during her video, or maybe it's already, So when we go to her video, we'll be able to start with those 5 places. Insurance, your friends, right? She had 5 places where we need to go to get started finding the right therapist, right? We're not going to be the burden bearer. That's not our life. We are not the burden bearer. That's what I have seen in Black women, but I rebuke that. I rebuke that. That's not my plight. That's not your plight. We are going to find help. We are finding resources to give us relief, to give us help, and then to give us joy, the life of joy, of freedom. You can't have a life of joy, of freedom, if you're still carrying around that bag, right? Erica Badu done told us, you're going to miss your bus. She said, bag lady, you're going to miss your bus. You can't hurry up. You got too much stuff, all right? We are going to use our therapist to create. We're going to use therapy and the things that we love, like travel and the arts, our friends, the food that brings us joy. We're going to use these things to create a life 360 degrees of joy. 360 degrees of joy, 360 degrees of peace. Okay. All right. So I'll see y'all at 1 o'clock anyway. Even though I'm kicking you off here now, I will see you at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. Sheeta's on the Loose. Her YouTube channel is youtube.com/Sheeta's on the Loose. Okay. Thank you so much for coming in, for asking questions, for sharing your information. This doesn't work. I told you this doesn't work if you don't share information. So thank you for sharing. I appreciate you being helpful and live in the chat, and for reaching to your sister, reaching to each other, sharing information with each other. I appreciate that. Okay. I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, if you're not subscribed, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out. Thanks, friends.